Hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're doing a little bit of out of the frying pan and into the fire, so to speak. Just recently, in fact, as of this past weekend, we concluded Wave 1 of the Transformers Legacy Velocitron Speedia 500 Deluxes with Cosmos, and we're going to jump right into Wave 2 with Crasher. The maniacal, some would say sadistic Crasher. She's going to be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe while you're at it, loud, my baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton, and it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, the Everything Factor, all the groups that I'm either a mod or an admin for, as well as all of my social media links, all of that in the description down below. Also in the description down below, and if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link, check us out on Patreon, see what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. This is Crasher. Or so they say. And it's kind of interesting because when we think Crasher, we think Gobots, and we think of that classic character, and I think that's what we will always and forever envision Crasher as. However, this is Decepticon Crasher, which actually has a little bit of a different backstory. It's going to be a little bit of a history lesson very briefly, and then we're going to see how well or not well the Earth mode, I guess mold for Mirage works for her. The head is not the Earth mode Mirage head. It is a different one. Yeah, there's some good and there's some bad here. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. So without any further ado, how about we head over to the table and take a closer look at her. And just as we finish with the Velocitron Speedia 500 Wave 1 Deluxes, doing Cosmos last week, we jump right into Wave 2. I will note this. On the shelf with Crasher, there was Shadow Strip, and I didn't get it because I don't need the drag strip mold again. Everything that I said in the drag strip review still holds true, but I will make a note now about the coloration. The transformation and the functionality is going to be the exact same as it was when I looked at the regular color drag strip in episode 973. But when it comes to the coloration here, here's the best way I can describe it, and I did describe it like this on GotBot Goes Live. If you remember the Transformers Prime Beast Hunters line, there was a deluxe Bumblebee that came out. Of course, he was yellow with his black highlights, and I think that maybe the Beast Hunter parts on them were bronze or something, maybe silver, I don't remember. But they done like a Shadow Strike Bumblebee or a, like, you know, Special Ops Bumblebee or some nonsense like that, where his whole coloration was black, and now his highlights were gold, not yellow, gold, and blue. The Beast parts were like a metallic-y type of blue. Shadow Strip is the exact same sort of mix of colors. The blue looks like the same sort of blue that was used back in that Beast Hunter's Bumblebee to me. The gold looks like the same hue of gold that was used then, and the black is black. It looks good. Function-wise, I don't imagine it's any different. It really depends on whether or not you're in for a G2 colored drag strip. If you are, then cool, get it. If you're not, then there's no point in getting that, and I'm not. I wasn't blown away with the Legacy drag strip. I don't really want the mold again, to be honest with you. And equally, I'm not necessarily blown away with this mold being used for Crasher, but it's so interesting here. More than the mold is the characterization. So most of us will know that Crasher was the diabolical and the maniacal renegade that was one of Psykill's lieutenants, right? Plus, she also had like a kind of a borderline obsession with turbo. And she turned into a Porsche 956 race car, which is not this more Formula One inspired race car. Interestingly, the entire character has been like revisioned for Transformers as well, where she's, you know, like tough talking, and she was like one of the gladiators who came up in the pits next to Megatron, for example, and you know, She was able to pick fights because she was very outgoing and brave, kind of a tomboy, right? And she was one of the like early adopters of Megatron's, I guess, idea of peace through tyranny, right? So like she has a life in the comics, and it's been said that this version of her, which is oddly the Earth mode Mirage body with the like hologram Mirage Siege head that came in that 3-pack, it's that head. It's strange, but nevertheless, it's been said that this is a mix of like a G2 inspiration, for whatever reason that is, and appearances in the comics. Most notably being in like the IDW comics, right? I think that the character might have appeared in like the crossover with My Little Pony too, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that though. Why did I say all of that? I said all of that because while there is a popular character from Gobots known as Crasher, I believe that this one is supposed to be more of a complete revisioning of that character as if she always existed in Transformers. But let's be realistic here. As we go through, I'm going to be discussing her as though she's the embodiment of the Gobots character. Before we look at her or the instructions, let's look at the packaging first. You will notice on the packaging it says Decepticon Crasher. Doesn't say G2 Universe, doesn't say Gobots Universe. I'm pretty sure it doesn't say Gobots Universe because of the whole complexity, I guess, of ownership of Gobots, where, they own like the fiction and the names and stuff, but like I guess the toy designs or the molds or whatever are owned in Japan by Bandai, maybe? I'm not sure. But like, they have to sort of revision it because of legalities, right? Again, wrapped around on the side, we have an image of Crasher. Over here, we see her a little more sinister and up close. And on the back, of course, we have the product images. Again, it does not denote any particular universe. Oh, we've got instructions, but surely, God, by now, we don't need them after we've done this like transformation a couple of times. In fact, I'm not even going to show the transformation. We looked at it already for Mirage, going from robot to vehicle, when I looked at the Battle Across Time 2-pack of him and Grimlock back in episode 945. And very recently, we saw the transformation going from vehicle back to robot when we looked at the Wreck and Rule 2-pack of Master Dominus and, of course, Leadfoot. And Leadfoot is the transformation from car back to robot. That was in episode 1013, pretty recently. So we've seen both of it, right? 1013 and 945, I'll probably put a couple of cards up in the corner somewhere along the video here. We'll see. And here we have Crasher in her race car mode. The only thing that really helps, because this is not her mode. This is more, I don't know a lot about race cars, but this is more Formula One, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's what people have said, rather than her previously mentioned Porsche alt mode. By the way, since Shattered Glass has been a whole thing and at PulseCon we saw a new Decepticon, just of note, I'm pretty sure that Shattered Glass Strongarm is colored this way as well to look a lot like Crasher, if I'm not mistaken. So, the only thing that saves this, even though the car mode is wrong, is that there's so much black that if you just look at it quickly, you can almost lie to yourself that it's the right car. It's obviously not, but beggars can't be choosers. We have the exact same accessories that come with the Mirages. In this case, they're all black. There's no paint, not a lick of it, nothing on them. Again, it's the shoulder launcher with the missile in it that can't go in the shoulder of this mold like it can with the Siege. And it's the blaster over here that comes with, which is funny because Crasher has laser hands rather than having accessories. So, whatever. Rolls just fine, no problem. Looks pretty good. All things considered, considering it's wrong, at least we have the correct layout of blacks and whites and reds. Are they in the right place? Well, no, not exactly, but come on, like how can they be in the right place if the car itself isn't right? Right? So that's about it for here, which means we can go from her looking like this to the diabolical Crasher looking like this. And, okay, so where do we begin? The transformation is I'd say somewhere in between Leadfoot and Mirage. The legs, for some reason, the mechanism of the legs does not work as smooth on the Earth mode as it does on the Siege, and I've never been able to figure out why that is. I said that I thought that Leadfoot's legs, and what I'm talking about is how the shin comes up over the thigh, and when you're trying to go back to robot mode, getting the shin off the thigh to go back down to become the lower leg. I feel like it was toleranced really poorly with my Mirage. I feel like it was much better with my Leadfoot. Not perfect, but much better. She's in between. She's not as good as Leadfoot, but she's not as bad as Mirage, for sure. Let's talk about scores for her, though. So, that being said about the transformation, I don't know what I have scored it in the past. I'm going to give her transformation somewhere around 7.5, maybe an 8. It's okay. It's all right. If your tolerances are a bit better than mine, then yours might be a bit higher up, right? And I just think it's not even her. It's not a QC issue so much with her. I just think it's the way that the design was done, because I have 3 copies of this mold and all of them like kind of get, I don't want to say bad, but they get a little cumbersome when it comes to the leg transformation. So we'll say, we'll be nice. We'll be nice and say an 8. In terms of the articulation, it's the same as it has always been. I'm going to say again that it's probably about a 9. We will have the head that'll go left and right. Not much up and down, a little bit. The arms, they go all the way around. They can go all the way out to the side. We have an elbow to 90 degrees, bicep swivel. Nothing at the wrist with this one, which is a shame, but it is what it is. We do have a waist. We have an ab crunch because of the way transformation is, right? Like, there's actually, because of the way you have to do the transformation, that we get a nice little kind of accidental ab crunch, but I mean, cool. The legs can go all the way out to the side. They can go all the way forward, all the way back, thigh swivel, very tight but smooth. Knee to 90 degrees, and of course our ankle tilt. Also, her plastic is this nice gloss black. It's beautiful. It looks real sleek, and it really kind of fits Crasher. If we go by her look in the comics, as well as, you know, inspirations we get from the G2 Fracture, that really came out, I think, in the movie line. I think it was a Walmart exclusive as well, if I'm not mistaken. Like, this is a pretty good update to that. For actual Gobots Crasher, starting from the bottom and working our way up to the top. Crasher's lower legs from the knees down should be black. Arguably, we should have a little bit of a red highlight and a little bit of a silver square. On the sides of the leg, we should have red. Here we have red and white. It should just be red, but you know what? It's okay. I get why the red and white is the way that it is. Also, the tires should be straight out, but I mean, having the tires about in the right position, I think is pretty good. The upper legs should be, I'm going to say silver, but I'm okay with them being white. Maybe they are supposed to be white or gray, but I'm okay with them being white. The pelvis should be red. We should have a couple of little gray highlights right out on the edge of the hips. Coming up to the main body, the center should be black with some red highlights. This is fairly close. The 01 shouldn't be there. I think they should have removed the 01, but that's, you know, that's just me. To the sides over here being white, again, much like with the legs, that should be kind of a gray color, but the red highlights are generally correct on the sides. The arms are completely black. Yes, we do have a red highlight out here, which is neat. If it's there, fine. If it's not there, fine. I even like the spoiler pieces turn. It's too bad that out here it wasn't also painted or molded black, because her entire arm is black. The face is pink like it should be. The eyes are yellow like they should be. In fact, she should have kind of darker pink lips. Maybe I'll paint in lips, who knows. And her teeth are yellow, for the record. Yeah, I know, robots with teeth, but her teeth are yellow. And she kind of has a widow's peak. So it looks like she's wearing like black rimmed glasses over her pink face with kind of a widow's peak for her here. We don't have that here. Because of the way the head is sculpted, we don't have the widow's peak. I don't know if you can actually paint it either. I think you would have to do a lot of work with this head, because the brow actually does come out. I understand what they did here, and honestly, I understand the gripes with it. In terms of coloration, she's about as accurate as this mold could get, so I'm going to give it a solid A for effort, so I'm going to give it an 8. So we had an 8, an 8, and a 9. Overall, she's about an 8.25. She's a pretty good update to the Fracture iteration of Crasher. She's an iffy update to the Gobots iteration of Crasher, but considering all the legalities, I think she's probably about as good as we are going to get. I like her. I don't think she's perfect, but I like her, and I'm glad that in robot mode, everything on her is nice and smooth, and all of the hinges work quite well. The only complaints that I could levy at all would be, I think they should have done a whole new head sculpt that looked more like Crasher's face. You could have even kept the back of this head. You just had to redo the very front of the head. And the leg transformation. Even with the incorrect car mode, I think if you had nailed the head correctly, I think people would have forgiven the car mode. But that's just me. And here we are once again, and here she is. So in terms of the revisioned backstory of her as a Decepticon, this works pretty well, because that revision backstory really puts her in line with the deluxe Fracture that I think was a Walmart exclusive as well. And this very much falls in line with that. I like the gloss black because if you look at the car mode just a glance, you can almost forget that it's the wrong car mode because the black kind of masks a lot of the weaknesses. In terms of being a representation of the Gobots character, it's like I said in the review, I think people would look past the imperfections with the car if the head sculpt, even the face, had been spot on. If you had gotten the face spot on to the animation, I think people would be like, yeah, okay, the body's stylized, but it's Crasher, right? I don't hate this. I like it. I'm very happy to have it. I'm glad to have Crasher. I would like more Gobots incorporated this way. And we have a few Gobots. In fact, we did a top 10 list a little while ago of characters, Gobots, that you would like to see in Transformers. Crasher appeared on that, by the way. And of course, here she is now. I didn't get the shadow strip. It's just the drag strip with black as the primary color, and the highlights that are red on the regular release are a nice vibrant gold, and some of the highlights are like a blue. I think it's a metallic-y blue. I could be wrong about that. I didn't need that one. I am happy that the case assortment and layout here for this wave seems to be 3 Crasher, 3 shadow strip, 1 burnout, and 1 clampdown. And clampdown has been a harder one to get. Some people will be disappointed when they hear me say that because there's no Cosmos mentioned there. However, apparently certain stores, and I know in the UK they did, I believe some in Canada have started as well, so I would like to think that this will happen in the US as well. But some stores have started to get full case assortments of Cosmos because he has proven to be that popular. I hope if you don't have yours that he comes to your neck of the woods. I feel like in terms of the deluxes, she's the star of Wave 2, if there is a star. I'm happy with her. I don't think she's the best use of this mold, but she's definitely not the worst use of this mold. Yeah, I don't know. Some people will be really turned off. Some people will think that she's just fine. For me, I think that she's just fine. Let me know what you think about Velocitron Speedia 500 Crasher. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you if you're in a position to help the channel to grow. You can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we have to offer to you through spring, or of course hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Stick around and have some fun with us, man. Also, don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single solitary day, you right there, you do make a difference. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams on Thursday nights, at the stop motion premieres, or the old-fashioned way right here inside the videos.